She threw the shift into park. They sat for a moment, breathing hard, hearts pounding, dust rising around them in the sudden silence. She looked west down the highway and saw nothing but road, and when she looked behind them she saw the pickup truck and the rise far behind it. "Dios," she whispered. The man looked hard at his wife, then pulled the keys from the ignition and tried to brush the coffee from his new jeans. He pushed open the door and stepped into the morning. It took them a few minutes to find the dead man sprawled back in the desert on the white sand between clumps of yucca. He was a gringo. He was small. His face was covered in blood and his body was misshapen. He wore the same kind of clothes she saw at Walmart. He had a watch, but no rings. "Don't touch him. He's alive," said her husband. The man's breath whistled in and out, and a tooth moved in his broken mouth. Then, for a long time, nothing. Then he breathed again. She crossed herself and knelt beside him. Her husband looked around them, then back at the sun just above the horizon now. She asked God and Ignacio what to do with such a broken body. She said there was the hospital in Buenavista, famous doctors who treated important people. "Go away," whispered the dead man. He opened his eyes. They were blue beneath the blood. "Please." "You will die," she said. The man was silent for a long moment, during which he did not breathe. Then another breath, this one deeper, followed by another. The tooth moved and the air whistled in and out. The husband said they would be arrested and deported, so if this man wanted them to go away, then they would. She looked up at him. "No. We drive to the hospital. We tell them where he is." "Tell them nothing," whispered the gringo. His eyes looked malevolent, but the woman thought that any eyes would look that way in a face so ruined and bloody. "We have a duty to God," she said. The gringo drew a long breath. Then he raised his hand very slightly from the sand, and he pointed his index finger at her, then curled it toward himself. She shuddered. He curled the finger again, then lowered his hand back to the ground. He was watching her. Maria Consalvo Reina Villalobos stared into the blue eyes. She looked at the broken, doll-like body, and she knew that if they were to leave the gringo here and drive away and not say one thing, then he would die, and his blood would be on her hands twice, once for thinking of waves of lilies and her beloved son Benito, and once for not telling anyone that there was a man dying in the desert not 10 miles from town. She leaned in closer. She saw him watching her through the blood. His broken tooth whistled again. She sensed Ignacio hovering behind her. The little man said something that she couldn't hear, so she leaned even closer. "Senora e Senor," the gringo whispered. "In the name of Benito the Beautiful, tell them nothing." Maria Consalvo scrambled to her feet, hitting at herself as if she were being attacked by hornets. Ignacio stood tall and glared down at the gringo who called his dead son by name. He saw a boulder of quartz lying just beyond the yucca, a single boulder, as if dropped there for a purpose. He took his wife by the arm and led her away. Ignacio knew that the man would probably be dead before the heat of afternoon, and certainly dead after it. He brought his wife to the passenger side of the Mercury, and he opened the door for her and steadied her as she spilled into the cracked vinyl seat. They were silent until Buenavista. As they entered the little border town, they agreed to say nothing to the authorities. They passed the Zocalo and St. Cecilia's Church and the Rite Aid and the Denny's. At the Ocotillo Lodge, Ignacio left the Mercury idling while he opened his wife's door and kissed her formally before he drove off for Bond's Corner. He had not opened her door or kissed her before work in 24 years. Within 5 minutes, Maria's conscience prevailed, and she called the Buenavista police station.